A few years ago, Argentina was the last country anyone would consider relocating to. Inflation over 200%, capital controls, currency in free fall. Now it's the hottest name in the passport world, so what changed? I've been watching Argentina closely for the last year. I've spoken to people on the ground, looked at the legal framework and compared the real numbers against what agencies are pitching right now. And what I found is a story that's more interesting and more complicated, I would say, than most will admit. Indeed, there is a lot of confusion and potential misinformation around that needs to be cleared up. The reforms are real, the opportunity might be real, but the way most people are framing it, that's where it doesn't quite add up. So in this video, we'll be exploring the Argentina opportunity in 2026. What's real, what's not, and where is this all going? Let's dive in. Peter Thiel bought a $12 million mansion in Buenos Aires, Barrio Park. He met with Milei at Casa Rosada in May 2024, and the passport industry framed it as a flag plant, a billionaire betting on the new Argentina. But Thiel didn't apply for citizenship, at least not yet. Look at what he actually holds. US citizenship, naturalized, born in Frankfurt, German citizenship from birth, New Zealand citizenship granted in 2011 under an exceptional circumstances clause, after only 12 days in the country. He is the only member of his Silicon Valley generation who actively constructed a multi-passport portfolio. Musk, Sachs, Brin, they all have accidental dual citizenship from where they were born. Thiel built his deliberately. 3 passports across 3 uncorrelated political regions. And then he bought Buenos Aires real estate, dollar denominated, prime neighborhood, high liquidity, no citizenship application, and no tax residency. So let's be clear, that's an edge, not a proper anchor. If Milei's reform hold and Argentina rebounds, the property appreciates. If the region destabilizes, Buenos Aires prime remains one of the most liquid markets in the southern corn. If nothing happens, it generates rental income, and 12 millions is an overall rounding error on his net worth. This distinction matters a lot because copying his move, buying in Argentina without his context, 3 existing passports, absorbing the political risk, is a very different bet. And nobody selling you Argentina will frame it that way. So with that in mind, let me show you the Argentina that Thiel is actually looking at. By the way, if you're new here, every week I share updates and strategies when it comes to relocation, tax optimization, and building a sovereign life abroad. So make sure to hit subscribe to follow along and hit that like button if you've been enjoying this so far. It truly helps a lot. Thank you so much. Now, let's dive into the Milei numbers. To understand why smart money is paying attention, you need to understand what Milei has actually done, because the numbers are objectively real. When he took office in December 2023, inflation was running at 211% year over year. By April 2026, roughly 32%. That's the fastest stabilization in modern Argentine history. First fiscal surplus in 14 years, capital controls partially lifted in April 2025, a 20 billion IMF extended fund facility secured the same month. And then the October 2025 midterms, Milei's party took 40.7% against the Peronists at 31.7%. So he expanded his congressional bloc in an election that was supposed to be difficult. Country risk premium compressed by over 1,500 basis points from peak. So anyone calling Argentina uninvestable right now is ignoring the data. The reforms have been successful on paper and the macro stabilization is real. And markets are pricing it in. But here is the question nobody in the passport world is asking clearly enough. How durable is this across 1 or 2 electoral cycles? Because look at where Argentina has actually been in the last 10 years, not as a hot take, as a pure volatility chart. 2014 to 2015, Christina Kirchner, inflation at 25 to 30%. Active capital controls, selective default, the government was falsifying its own economic data through index. 2015 to 2019, Macri comes in, lifts the capital control, markets celebrate, inflation runs from 25 to 54% anyway. It takes a 57 billion IMF loan, the largest in IMF history at the time, reimposed capital controls in September 2019 on his way out. 2019 to 2023, Fernandez and Cristina as VP, inflation from 54% to 211%. Multiple exchange rates, a wealth tax, the PICE tax on dollar purchases, a debt restructuring in 2020. December 2023, Milei. Inflation collapses, fiscal surplus, the capital control partially lifted, IMF deal Thiel secured mid-term victory for presidents, four completely different macroeconomic regimes, each one reversing the previous on capital controls, exchange rates, and foreign investment treatment. For a 20 to 30-year passport horizon, that's the baseline you need to price in. So not whether Milei is working, he is, but whether the next president or the one after that continues what he started. In Argentine history, the default answer to that question has been no. So against that backdrop, Milei's government did something ambitious. In mid-2025, they signed two decrees. Decree 366 amended Argentina's citizenship law to allow naturalization through investment, no residency requirement. Decree 524 created a dedicated agency, APCI, to run the program. They even decoupled CBI citizenship from automatic tax residency, meaning you could hold an Argentine passport without becoming an Argentine taxpayer. On paper, this was one of the most thoughtfully designed CBI frameworks anywhere. The legal architecture was solid, and then came the implementation. December 2025, the government launched a tender for a master agent to operationalize the whole thing. 11 firms expressed interest, 6 submitted bids, 4 were disqualified at the evaluation stage. That left 2 finalists, a 4-firm consortium and Alien Partners, the largest citizenship advisory firm in the world. Both scored identical technical marks. The split was economic. The consortium bid 50,000 for the entire 4 years contract. Henley bid 25 million. So let that sink in. 50k versus 25 million, a 500x gap. The consortium won clearly on price. Henley challenged the result. A second disqualifier bidder also filed a challenge, if I'm not wrong, and the government's own legal team reviewed everything and concluded that the proposals couldn't ensure the coherence and strategic articulation required. On April 14, 2026, Minister Luis Caputo signed Resolution 522, deleting the entire tender. Same day as a bad inflation print. One day before his meeting with the IMF in Washington. Here is what's important. The program is not dead. The law still exists. The agency still exists. The framework still exists. What got cancelled was the tender, which means the mechanism for finding someone to run it. What doesn't exist yet is the operational substance, the investment threshold, the eligible sectors, the processing routes, the agent ecosystem. The skeleton is standing. There is no muscle on it. So for now, the standard path remains what it's always been. Get the residency, live there, naturalize after 2 years on paper, but realistically 3 to 4 once you factor in the processing time. 6 months minimum physical presence per year, not a paper residency. You actually have to be there. By the way, if you are seriously considering relocating to Argentina or anywhere else, I recently published something that might be of use, the Ultimate Guide to Citizenship and Residency Programs in 2026. This was months in the making, every active program globally, current investment thresholds, real processing timelines, strategic combinations that actually work. And most importantly, this is a living document. As programs change, it gets updated, so you always have current information. If you are considering any move, this is the resource you need. Link is in the description. Now let's talk about what nobody in the passport space wants to discuss. Here is what most of the Argentina conversation falls apart, because the passport is only half of the picture. The other half is what happens when you actually live there. Argentina has worldwide taxation, progressive income tax from 5 to 35%, and a wealth tax, the Impuesto sobre los bienes personales, on global assets above roughly 320k. Now, Milei has improved this. In 2024, legislative intervention cut wealth tax rates significantly. They are on a glide path from 1.5% down to a flat 0.50 by 2027. He also eliminated the punitive surcharge on foreign assets, which used to run as high as 2.25%. That's a meaningful reform. But compare Argentina to its neighbors and the picture gets clearer. Uruguay, 11-year tax holiday on foreign source capital income for new residents. After that, 12% with a transition at 6%, no wealth tax. Paraguay, pure territorial taxation. Foreign income isn't taxed. No wealth tax, top rate 10%. Panama, same. Territorial, no wealth tax. Argentina, worldwide income taxed up to 35%, wealth tax on global assets, capital gains at 15%. So same continent, same region, vastly different tax math. And this is exactly why the CBI's tax decoupling matters so much. If the program ever launches, you will be able to hold an Argentine passport without triggering Argentina tax residency, provided you don't physically live there for more than 12 months. The passport becomes an asset, of course, without the liability. liability. But that program doesn't exist yet. And the standard residency path, living there 6 months a year, triggers full worldwide taxation from month 13 onwards. And I can't talk about Argentina without mentioning Uruguay, because for most profiles, Uruguay is the rational answer to the question Argentina makes exciting. 40 years of unbroken democratic continuity, peaceful power transitions. The current president, Yamandu Orsi, received the Anne Frank Award alongside 2 former presidents from opposing parties. That tells you everything about how seriously this country takes institutional stability. An 11-year tax holiday on foreign source income confirmed for new tax residents from January 2026. After that, 12% with a 5-year transition at half rate. No wealth tax. LA ranks the passport 22nd, 156 visa-free destinations. The cost, well, that's the key downside. It's the highest in the region, at least for now. And the real estate threshold for the tax holiday was raised to 2 million in 2026. Simply, Uruguay charges premium for certainty. Argentina is offering a discount for variants. Both are legitimate positions if you compare it with Uruguay, but they are, in my view, not in the same position, and you should know which one you are taking and the specific reasons why. Argentina is not a bad option at all, but at the same time, it's not a miracle. It's a high variance jurisdiction in the middle of a genuine reform cycle, with a CBI program that was designed, tendered, challenged, and shelved within 12 months. The macro story is improving. The reforms are real, but the institutional history is also just as real, and anyone sizing a position in Argentina, whether that's a passport, property, or a residency, should size it the way Thiel did, as an edge, not as a unique anchor, as one piece of a more extended portfolio, not eventually the only exclusive foundation. The agencies will tell you the next big thing. Your job is to know what you are actually buying. If you found this useful, subscribe. I cover every major jurisdiction and hidden gem for location-independent people, the real numbers, the real trade-offs, no fluff. Drop a comment, tell me what you think about Argentina. Thanks for watching, and ciao for now.